roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. But later, I could not help but wonder what I was missing out on the other path. A modern version of Robert Frost's lines. But unlike Robert Frost, we don't celebrate the path we chose. We question the one we did not. Of course, this has happened to a lot of us, standing at crossroads in life, doubting our choices. As a teenager, I've already felt this pressure. I still remember last month when one of my friends invited me to her birthday party. It had been a long time since we last caught up, and I really wanted to go. But I had some important classwork due the next day. So I stayed back, worked on it, finishing it just on time. But later, I could not help but ponder if I made the right decision. Was the submission more important or the memories that I missed with my friends? That moment made me realize how often I face the challenges in everyday life. Should I focus on my hobbies or start working on my assignments so as to fetch good grades? Should I spend my pocket money on the new book that I so want to read or the viral chocolate that everyone has been raving about? This feeling of constant tug of war between choices has a term that's recently gained popularity: FOMO, or the fear of missing out. FOMO isn't just about missing parties or viral trends. It's not just some random Gen Z slang. It's something bigger, something that we're all familiar with. The fear that every choice we make means that we are missing out on a possibility that could have been better. FOMO affects us all irrespective of age. We've all had thoughts like, if I focus on studying or work, will I miss out on socializing or spending time with my family and friends? If I pursue my passion project, will I lag behind in my academics or career? These aren't some everyday decisions, they are some major ones. Such fears bring uncertainty into our lives every single day, turning every step we take into a mental game of this or that. Except that this one is the hard version. Especially being teenagers already overwhelmed with so many what ifs, FOMO hits us really hard. On a social level, it creates a pressure to attend every event or hangout and follow every trend. It is born from the fear of being left out, the fear that all our friends are going to have so much fun without us, and we would eventually become unimportant to them. Arising from this, a thought deep in our mind asks, will missed social events make my friends eventually drift away? According to a 2020 survey by Common Sense Media, 35% of teens reported being worried about what others were doing online. Now, if we see this FOMO situation from an academic aspect, FOMO causes constant juggling of choices like whether to choose subject A or subject B, whether to take extra classes or enjoy my free time, all due to the unspoken fear of making a wrong decision. There's always a thought lurking in the back of our mind. What if I choose a career path now but regret it later? What if I'm not cut out for it? In fact, it was just recently that this FOMO had paralyzed my decision making. When I joined my new school this year, I was given an option to choose what creative interest I'd like to pursue as a class every week from the various options that existed. And being a true creative enthusiast, I was in a total dilemma. The two final options that I was tossing for were drama and music. Drama was something that I already had a little prior experience with, and I absolutely loved it. Performing, writing, bringing life to new ideas, entertaining people with it. These were some of my passions, and I still wanted to continue with it. But music was something new, yet beloved. It fascinated me, I loved listening to music and I always wanted to learn an instrument someday. Both the choices were promising, and I was terrified of what amazing things I'd miss out in the one that I did not choose. This is how FOMO traps us in indecision, confusion, and makes us feel helpless. Let's be honest, at some point, most of us have spent hours comparing options, Googling or watching videos endlessly, trying to figure out which one is the best, only to end up with more question marks at last. And that is how FOMO ultimately leads us to what psychologists call the paradox of choice. This paradox of choice is created by overanalyzing of options, and at the end, we find ourselves struggling to make any decision at all. Now, coming back to my story, I finally decided to opt for drama because that's what excited me the most, what valued to me the most, and that's when I realized something important, that no decision or choice is perfect, but we must not let the fear of missing out stop us from making a decision in the first place. Every choice will always carry a possibility of not being the ideal one. But every decision shapes us, teaches us, and gives us an experience that is truly valuable. Shifting perspective is the key to understanding FOMO. Our thinking should go from what am I missing to what am I gaining. We must embrace the fact that no decision is wrong. Every choice closes some doors, but it opens some new ones. And it's completely up to us to choose which one we want to walk through. While making choices, our priorities should be our values and goals. It's important to choose what truly matters, not that approved by others. That reminds me of the time when all the kids in my neighborhood were preparing to join a DIY workshop, which was quite the trend back then. Everyone was so excited to spend their new holidays in this newfound activity. Well, I would have had a fun time too if I had signed up, but it wasn't something that really piqued my interest at that time. So, instead of following the crowd, I decided to stay home and do some sketching from online tutorials. As time passed by, I began to develop a great interest in crafting activities and regretted not joining the workshop. And maybe I still do. But I came to realize that my choice back then had its own benefits. Although it had initially seemed like I had missed out on learning some new skills, I'd actually gained a different set of them. Now, I can proudly say that this exercise of sketching did refine my artistic abilities. So, what I've learned so far is that not everyone does not have everything figured or planned out. The choices we make at every new crossroad that life brings us creates a unique path, and the paths of any two individuals are just like fingerprints. They can never be the same. And choosing an unconventional path does not limit us. In fact, it builds our uniqueness in some way or another. And well, it's a well accepted fact that life is quite unpredictable. You never know what the next wave brings. Who knows? The doors that are closed today may be opened by a new choice you make tomorrow. So FOMO is inevitable. The challenge then is not to live without FOMO, but to make peace with it, learn from it, and use it to make choices that are meaningful to our own fabulous story. Thank you.